and also don't forget to subscribe. So my name is CEPHAS KIMANI, and let us introduce our guest who we are going to have the discussion for the first segment. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Brenda Wasike, the Deputy President of Mombasa Youth Assembly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we would like to discuss about youth and employment.
Okay.
So what do you think are some of the major reasons or causes that cause the youth to get to be jobless or to get unemployment?
Oh, first, the chances of white-collar jobs are minimal.
Yeah.
Secondly, we can say that youth are so relaxed.
Yeah.
They're used to hand to mouth.
Yeah.
And of which, with that, we cannot survive, and you cannot work at a white-collar job, of which they are very minimal.
Yeah.
Third, we can say that they're not, most of the youth in Mombasa are not, I'm sorry to say this, they're not educated. Wamefika form 4 na hapo ndo wameridhika, wao washamaliza shule. So unapata the country, watu wenye wametoka bara wanajituma, wanasoma zaidi, na hapo sasa ndio unapata ati kazi zimepeana kwa watu wa bara.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've said something about the youth being dependent a lot, concerning them being dependent on being fed mostly, not being able to work for themselves.
Yeah.
Do you think that also the parents have a role to play right there?
Yeah, they have a very big role to play, because mostly it's all about the mentorship from childhood to upbringing. Amekuzoesha vipi? Kama amekuzoesha wewe unaweza kujitegemea kuanzia utotoni, petty thing in the house. Kama unafanya kazi kwa nyumba, ile kuosha vyombo, unajua hiyo ni kujitegemea. Wakati hayuko, you can do it. That means hata ukiwa mtu mzima, you still do it. Utajituma, because you know at the end of it there's someone who will depend on me. I'll raise up a family, I'll have kids. My mother or my father hata baki hiyo miaka, na hiyo kazi yenye inafanya itaisha. Yeah.
So that will assist the majority of the youth to be responsible for their own selves, and also to work extra harder for them to know, or they also will get to a point where they'll have to also provide for their families. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, and you've also talked about the white-collar jobs. Do you think that majority of the universities do offer courses that maybe they only concentrate on white-collar jobs rather than technical stuff that may assist people or the youth to have those skills?
Okay, with the university, that's true. They are strictly focused on the white-collar job. Yeah. Okay, the only one cause of which I may think it's you may the skilled career thing, it's engineer. Na engineer mpaka uende usome physics. Yeah. Sasa watu wataka kuchoka na hesabu. Exactly. They want kitu yenye wanapata kirahisi, community health, name it, education. Na education huko ndio watu wamejaa. Youth wamejaa kwa education, wamejaa kwa community health, wamejaa. So you get hakuna kazi kwa sababu hiyo field ishajaa. IT field ishajaa. So we need to divert our attentions to the skilled work.
So if you were to be asked for a solution, maybe, what would you advise most of the university institutions, maybe some technical institutions?
Okay, me I will request, leave about the university, they're already there. They can't change the structures of the buildings and all that. So the national government, I only request so that they may create more technical universities with the techniques so that to empower these youths. As for me, apart from all this knowledge I have, I'm a plant operator. That's a technical skill. Yeah.
Okay. And you've also added on something about the national government, maybe also the county government. Do you think that they have a role to play on increasing or reducing joblessness to the youth or in society?
Yeah, they do have a big role to play, because at first they expect us to create self-employment. As for them, they came to us so that we give them that work that they're doing as the MP, as the senators. We are paying them. they can't expect us to create our own jobs. We can't create our own jobs. They must give us skills, funds, and motivation so that when we get to start our own business, we know how to run them. Because wanatupatia pesa. How will we run our businesses? Sure. We don't have the skills, we don't have any idea of managing money, controlling money. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, because we are heading to an election, a general election, and majority of politicians, surely they're going to use maybe the jobless young people out there. What would be your advice towards them?
This is an election period time, of which my fellow youth, this person who is coming to you, asking you to abuse somebody, speak vulgar words through social media, please, mwambie kupeleke shule ama kupatie pesa ya biashara kwanza. Weke pikipiki yako barabarani ama weke biashara yako. Weke biashara yako ndio muongee siasa. You should start with yourself. You should start. Unajua kila mtu pale akona or self-interest, or we call it common interest. Common interest is politics, but self-interest, kila mtu akona yake. Wewe hata wewe kuwa hapa na hii job, there's something you want personally, apart from what the boss wants.
True, that's true.
Yeah.
And also, when we speak about the national government, maybe, and also the county government, there are also a lot of things that happen within the society. Especially these days, you're told that in case you want to have a specific or a particular job, you must have a godfather somewhere, So that is a case of corruption. What do you think corruption, what does corruption has to youth and employment?
Okay, with corruption, this is Kenya, and tulipata hivyo, lakini tumechoka, tunataka change. With corruption, we must fight it in one way or another. If you can't get that job because you have to have a godfather, always be positive and have an alternative. What I will request from the government ni wapunguze hizo rates za kuchukua zinaitwa hizi certificates za kusatisfy kuwa you are supposed to own a business, business ownership. Wazipunguze hizo rates. We don't need godfathers anymore. We are tired of you. You stay away. We just need you to punguza those rates. Punguzeni hizo rates, tufanye biashara. Kama ni biashara tufanye, sote tukae wa morio. Cause hii Kenya sasa hii economy ni mbaya na kazi hazitoshi. Wacha tukae business minded, as they say.
True.
Yeah.
True. And also to the youth, because when we talk about also the rates for employment, either self-employment or being employed at a particular company, what do you think are some of the measures that maybe a person or the government can put in order for that young man or young woman or the young lady outside there who wants to start a business for his or herself? What kind of measures do you think, either for personal use or through the government, that person should?
Okay, because when we look at M-Pesa, it's the least business, ile business ya chini mtu anaweza anza. Lakini sasa ukipata ile certificate ya kumpatia huyu mtu ndo anze hiyo biashara, the rate iko juu zaidi kuliko hata hizi biashara zingine. When you go to Kilifi, the rate iko chini. Watu wa bodaboda, they have to pay something to run the business. Watu wa mama mboga, hizo rates kanjo wanawakatia kila siku. Is it adding up anywhere?
Not really.
That is where unapata a person ameanza business, after 2 days it's closed.
But also, do you think that maybe it's the youth who are, because there are also other, small businesses and enterprises that maybe a youth man can start, as they normally say, kazi ni kazi, usichague kazi. But we find that as we spoke, a lot of the youth, they just want to get to that white collar jobs and they're afraid to maybe start or run a small enterprise.
Okay, with that, I don't blame that youth. Because hajaekwa na ile mindset ya kuwa without this you can still survive. So yeye kwa sababu amekosa hiyo kazi anakaa ndani ya nyumba. Na wewe mzazi muongeleshe kijana wako ama msichana wako kumwambia boss, Si lazima uende uvae suti.
Kweli.
Yule mwenye unakimbilia amevaa suti, hujui penye alitoka. You don't know how he started or she started. Not every boss here alianza na white collar job. Ilimkuta kwa njia na ni kwa sababu ya maybe biashara 1 2 3 ndio inafanya anavaa venye amevaa. Anavaa suti, anajinyonga vizuri, akikwambia mimi nilikuwa nauza makaa, utashangaa like makaa ndio imenifikisha hapa. Yeah, you just have to start from somewhere.
True. And also speaking about, for the recent, let's say an year and a half, we have had the situation of COVID-19 pandemic, right?
Yeah.
We have seen that it has increased joblessness among, the society, especially to the youth. What do you have to say about that situation?
Okay, with that it has affected so much. And the rates za early pregnancies zimekuwa nyingi, gender based violence zimekuwa nyingi. I think it's all because of depression and all that, COVID and the curfew thing. So unapata, if only somebody was working during the night hours, the 24-hour economy, it was reduced to some rate whereby there was nothing. There was no economic increase in the family. So you find with that, it has affected so much the youth, and I don't know how to say that, because
it's just too much.
Disturbing. Because as per now, so many youth have not yet picked up themselves. They're still struggling.
True.
Wanalala kwa mavaranda, wanalala kwa barabara. Only because of COVID. If only Mr. President can hear this, afungue hii lockdown. Hii mambo ya curfew time, kwa sababu the 24-hour economy rate has gone down. Children are sleeping hungry. The youth are struggling. That is why you find easy gang groups zimeformiwa. It's not because they want to. It's because their main source of income has gone down.
Speaking of which, so that means that the rate of unemployment, when it's high, it also causes the youth to engage themselves in such things as crime.
No,
just to get that, something
to find
feed.
Something to feed.
Yeah.
Because when you talk about businesses, there's no space for business.
Yeah.
The town is so occupied. So after, in the time of COVID, everyone was in business. So you find if everyone is in business, from here to here, you're selling the same thing. Who will buy? No one. And where is that money to buy the products? There is no cash flow. Yeah.
Okay. And you've spoken about also early pregnancy. So also unemployment creates a lot of idle time that causes people, especially the youth, to engage themselves in crimes and also in some particular vices, such as engaging themselves in some sexual activities that causes the early pregnancy. So what is the impact, especially of unemployment to early pregnancies, especially to our young ladies out there?
Okay, with the rate of early pregnancies, I think it's because by that time, with the COVID thing and curfew and lockdown, the boda guys were taking advantage of the situation. Because here you come, your husband is in the house, or your brother is in the house, everyone is in the house. You are just given some time to just sneak out. You find a boda guy, let's say you don't have your essential needs as a woman. Where do you go? The only person with money is the boda guy. There is where you find the rate of early pregnancies are getting at, because most of the early pregnancies are teenagers. And by that time, our parents, some were out there looking for money, because there is no any other source. They just have to go out and look for money. You are left there alone. You make your own decisions. There's no one to control you. There's no one to tell you, hey, that's wrong. Na mwenye alitoa kiboko
in schools,
anakosea. Mwenye alitoa kiboko anakosea. Because by that time ilikuwa mtoto wako ni wa community, lakini sasa mtoto wako ni wako. With that, if only it was that until now. the early pregnancy story haingekuwa. Cause you could be somebody's watchguard. Unamwangalilia huyo kijana wake, msichana wake, asitumie miadarati, asifanye kitu yenye itakikani.
True. And do you think specifically it's the female gender that is experiencing such social difficulties and problems, or it's both the boy child and the girl child?
It's both the boy child and the girl child. It's only that.
In what way has the boy child being affected, especially in a social, you know?
Okay, with that, the boy child aliambiwa akae ngumu. No matter what situation, yeye aliambiwa akae ngumu, hakuna kulia. Na with that, unapata stress zake anapeleka Mangweni, base kwa mahali pa kukula mugoka, ama having sex. There is where amefocus, na yeye ndo anaumia zaidi. Manake pia kutable out issues zake zinakuanga ngumu juu haongei. Juu hata akienda pale base haizi sema amefanywa kitu fulani. Yeye anasikiza tu story, anapiga story zingine zenye hazieleweki, a push time. Time ya kulala ifike aende zake.
True.
He's also affected.
Okay.
Very
much so. Let's say you have 50% on both
both
genders,
gender.
Genders. And also when it comes to employment, we have seen that majority of there has been gender inequality during you know, employment, especially in different sectors of companies or jobs. Because we find that there's a job that if a woman goes to apply for, she'll be told no, or she'll be criticized and be told, no, this work you can't. It requires a lot of effort, or it requires a certain kind of energy. Whereas also for the boy child, that unemployed boy child, it gets to a point whereby he might be qualified, but because maybe there's you know, a certain pretty lady, young lady out there, the chance is given to that person. What's your take? Has that affected the youth, especially in employment? Okay,
in a way yes, in a way no. With the yes, it's whereby these jobs that you say, like engineering, plant operator, excavator, and all that, the dirty jobs. We call it dirty jobs. They're said to be for the men, but I thank the government on the terms of the ratio of women to men opportunities. That's okay, because we are all equal now. In terms of for the boy child, ameachwa kwa sababu ya mshi, that's not the right way. Kwa sababu,
it happens though.
It happens. That's not the right way kwa sababu this lady has just gone there for her beauty. What if akipata accident? Atafutwa kazi?
Imagine that. Almost so, if there might be beauty but no brains also, you know.
As you say.
So let's say it's a 50-50 kind of situation. And do you think that we need to be educated in most of these kind of situations, whereby we have to know, like when I grow up, especially for these young people who are getting into campuses in recent time, whereby someone goes to do a certain course just because that person has had the course has money, but in real sense, it's the effort and you know, your skills that will determine whether maybe, because you know these days almost everyone has graduated. You know, almost everyone has papers. So what's your take on that kind of situation?
Okay, with that, I think this should go to the parents. They should mentor. They should bring up their kids, giving them alternatives. They should always have an option B in every situation. They should not just be strict like, hey, if it's engineering, naenda hivyo na engineer mpaka nipate kazi ya engineer. If not, it's sifanyi chochote. They should give their kids positive attitude and positive alternatives on and in whatever they take. Because let me use just myself as an example. I did procurement. I did procurement. Makaratasi imelala. Nimefanya pastry. Makaratasi imelala. Nimefanya plant operator. Makaratasi imelala. Whatever I'm doing now, I will see any na. But it will reach that time, hizo makaratasi nitazihitaji, and I'll use them.
Yes.
So they should always have a positive impact on anything that happens to their life.
Okay.
They should take everything positively.
Yeah. And also, do
na
you
hakuna kitu chenye Mungu anakupatia uwezani nacho.
Yeah.
Wewe kukosa ile job yenye umesomea, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get a job or you're not going to do something to make yourself better. You're going to do it, but in a different way. It's not a must you go the way you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so do you think that parents should always sit down with their kids first before their child or their kids decide first to, you know, venture into doing a certain type of a course before being counseled, being given, you know, ideas and on how or which course to take, or even the universities themselves, like an orientation, because not all do that.
There is always an orientation in the colleges, universities and all that, but with the parents, don't force your kid to do what you want. Ask your kid what he or she wants, because you're forcing that kid to do what you want. At the end of the day, it is not your life that she's living or he's living her own life. And just encourage the person to take the career that anajua anaweza na hata kudisappoint.
Yeah, true.
Don't force them to choose a wrong career just because you are an engineer or you're a pilot, so I should go for an aviation. No. Even though you want it to flow to the family like a generational thing, why work hivyo? Unajua sahi imefikia, we have to make our own decisions. Tunasema tunajihusisha kivipi? We should be put on the table while making family decisions, while making career decisions. You should not choose for me what I should do in life. It reaches a certain point. Allow us, because serikali yenyewe imesema ukifika 18 ukivunja sheria, they take action. Allow us to make mistakes and learn from mistakes.
That's true.
Yeah.
So how has unemployment also made the youth people or the youth to engage themselves into drugs?
Okay, I don't think if unemployment has made
someone... there's that, you know, idleness. There's that idleness whereby you find because I'm idle, I have nothing to do, right? I can go, you know, maybe, you know, pass time through, you know, using and consuming some substance, maybe alcohol or something else, just to pass or to kill that, you know, thought of just being, you know, feeling that you're not as useful as other people.
You know, sometimes we think that using the substance is cheap. It's not cheap, it's very expensive. Because when you look at cocaine, they I don't know how they call it, how they measure it. That small thing, it's 300. So you find you don't have a job and you want to use that thing after every 4 hours. That's how much?
That's too much. It's a lot. That's right.
So there's nothing like when you're not working or you don't have a job, you go for drugs. I don't
Unless
take
you engage yourself with crime activities that will sustain yourself.
I'm not in support of that.
Of course, me too. I'm not. Definitely, we criticize that a lot, too much. But do you think also that there should be, you know, programs to educate youth people or the youth out there, to educate them on the job opportunities that are there outside here? Yeah,
there should be a program, and there should be there should be many programs, because it should be a generational thing. Because mimi nilipata hiyo empowerment, huyu mwingine hajapata, yule mwenye anakuja next amepata, so you find there is a gap in between. So there is whereby unapata we are tumeachana. We are not together, like we are so empowered, let us do this and that. Mapata?
Yes.
Or even when it reaches a time of creating groups, going to get funds. When you get the funds, there's that person who has the same mindset as yours. Let's open up a business and do this. And there's that one, hey, tugawane hii pesa, kila mtu ende zake.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
There should be a lot of empowerment and entrepreneurship empowerment. Yeah.
So do you think those programs should be created by the government, or not only the government, but also different parastatals?
Okay, with the parastatals there, because there's chambers of commerce, there's stretchers, there's Alpha and Omega doing that. So you with the parastatals there, but I'm looking at the government.
Both
both the national and the county. The funds are there, but given to specific people, and the people who are given, they don't return the funds. So these are the common mwananchi suffers because of the few. Then they purport that the funds are not returned with the youth. It's not the youth, it's the few youths who are not empowered.
True.
When you want to give us that money, empower us. Let us get the skills, let us get the knowledge, let us get that mindset of rotational of money. We get used tuzoe pesa. Unajua ukizoea pesa hata ukipewa pesa nyingi ushtuki. Lakini sasa we are given bulk of money at once, like hey, go start a business. Na hujaishika hata 10k unapewa 100,000. How?
True.
What do you expect? It's intercheesy.
Exactly.
I'll disappear.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So you've heard it from her, and we are going to keep on with this conversation in just a bit. Don't go too far. Stay tuned as we come back on our next segment. We still have another guest, whereby we will continue discussing this segment. And also be sure to still, please, because we kindly do appreciate and value your feedback, make sure that you chat or join our discussion on our social media platforms. So see you on the other end in just a moment.